You're watching Pyro Media Network.
I could be running around chasing you, but I won't. Cause I got better things to do. Rather spend my precious time chasing somebody who loves me too. If I got $1 for every time you slam the door, I would be the richest girl alive. If you hadn't run away, every time I asked you stay, you would sleep right.
Thank you for tuning in. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. We hope your experience is fruitful. Please feel free to visit our website to find out how you can join our growing family. While we are loading your experience, please do us a quick favor and hit that like button from whichever platform you're watching or listening on. Also, share so others may enjoy as well. And we hope you would consider hitting that subscribe or follow button so you can check out more of our amazing content. Alright, let's start the show.
Hey. Happy Friday, Junior. It is Dr. Nicole D. Vick, or I am Dr. Nicole D. Vick of Nicole D. Vick Live. What? I don't know why I felt like doing that. I go live every single Thursday, when possible, except holidays, to bring to you topics that are important to the Black community from a social justice perspective. I just have to do that. It ain't no other way for me to do what I do. That's just everything, the essence of who I am. Okay. And so y'all know that this month I have been talking about healthcare, and I decided I was going to call this month's theme Sick Nation, because our nation is really, we got a lot of issues among other things, right? But when it comes to healthcare, we got some problems. And, I spent the last couple of weeks kind of talking about them from a mental health perspective, a healthcare access perspective. And this week, I really want to give you all some takeaways on how to do things. I have met a fabulous woman. I forgot how we met. We're going to talk about that on the show in a minute, but she has been very instrumental in helping me navigate my health issue. And we don't talk often, but she'll kind of chime in every so often. Hey, what happened? And I'll say something and she'll be like, nope, that wasn't supposed to go like that. Next time that happens, say this or say that, or call here or do that. Or I'm glad you didn't stay at that hospital, because that hospital, So, it's really important to have people like that in your life to help you. And I know that everyone does not have that person. I didn't until I happened to meet her and realize what she did. So I want today to be a time where you all have some really tangible takeaways on how to navigate the healthcare system. And one thing I'll say before I bring her on is you do not want to wait until something happens to say, daggone it, I done found out this thing is trash. Because at that point, it's kind of too late, right? It's the same sentiment we have in the public health spaces around emergency preparedness. The earthquake is not the time to decide, dang, let me put an earthquake kit together. Baby, the earthquake is happening. The fire has occurred. Okay, it's too late. So you want to make sure you're as prepared as possible. You understand as much as possible so that when things happen, you know what you're doing. And I will say healthcare to me is so confusing still because there's so many players. But we're going to get really into this topic. But I want to bring my guest on. Alicia, come through. Hey girl, how you doing?
Hey girl, first of all, this production is cute. Okay.
Thank
Yes.
I
Um,
try.
no, it's super cute. You have aesthetic in there and it's very aesthetic. It's super aesthetic. So I'm
Yes, very
good. How are
demure.
you?
Very
Yes.
demure.
How are
I'm doing
you?
much better.
Good.
Because you was on the other side when things was much worse. And you
Yes.
were really trying to help me. And I want to say on air, live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, thank you. Because you, among other people, but you have a specific skill set and a knowledge base where you were like, no. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. But before we go into that, though, let me read your bio, a little bit of your bio.
Okay.
Alicia, you have an MPH like me, Team MPH, and an MSW, Master's Degree in Social Work.
Yes.
You are the CEO and co-founder of the AHN Foundation, dedicated to creating safe spaces for Black women. So important. And that is trademark, y'all, that promote inclusivity, health, and professional growth. Inspired by her own experiences in corporate America, Alicia's vision is to provide Black women with supportive, luxurious environments where they can thrive. We deserve luxury. We deserve good things. We deserve safeness. We deserve ease. So I really love that. You were born and raised in South Central Los Angeles, as was I. Woo! You are committed to giving back to your community, as am I. See, that's why we are here together today.
Yes.
You hold your master's degree in social work from Dominguez Hills and public health from UCLA, which is okay. I went to the other school on the other side. It's all right.
Where's up?
Um,
Where's up?
you have three daughters and a husband of 23 years. So I'm really, really happy to have you on. And again, publicly want to thank you because again, even if I wasn't necessarily thinking about it or anything, you would jump in on LinkedIn and kind of leave a comment in my messages like, you good? Like, what's going on? What happened? And I really, really appreciated that and you guiding me through because this journey has been wild and it has taught me so many lessons. And I'm excited that we can kind of talk about that today and hopefully help some people. Before we go further, I want to say one of the main catalysts for this particular content for this month and this episode is because open enrollment. I know many of y'all can't see this, but this came in my little benefits packet that came to my house saying, baby, it's time for you to do your insurance and whatnot. And they send you the little booklet and the thing, and they tell you all the plans and all the coverages. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you what's the copay? What's co-insurance? What's all this stuff? It can be very confusing. So I'm glad you're here to help us clarify some things, talk through some things, and hopefully we can help some people tonight.
Absolutely. I'm glad I'm here for that too.
Do you remember how we met? Was it LinkedIn?
It was LinkedIn. So in what year is this? 2024. So 2023-ish. I can't keep up. The pandemic has completely erased the years for me. I don't know what year I'm in half the time, but I was on this mission to meet Black women that are professionals, and we met. I reached out, especially when I would see a Black woman that's from the LA area. I would say, let's go have lunch, let's go have dinner, let's meet up, whatever, so that could build my network. That's my goal, is because your network is your net worth. And that doesn't just mean financially, but that can be emotionally, mentally, professionally. It can mean so many different ways. So that's how we met.
Yeah, we went to lunch. I don't remember the name of that restaurant, but it was really nice. And we sat in there. It was in the Nordstrom. I was like, okay,
Yes.
this is nice. And that was a nice time. And we got to learn what we were all working on. Yeah, so amazing. So, like I said, the reason why I brought you here, October to me felt like a good month. It's open enrollment for a lot of people. First of all, what is open enrollment? How do people know what that is? Like, what is that?
Yes. So let me qualify myself first so people know that this is what I do for a living. So I've been working in healthcare for over 12 years, and I started early on in my career by doing home visits. And the way that I was able to really learn about insurance, I would go to people's homes when they were first discharged from the hospital and talk to them about how to not go back to the hospital. And there was an insurance mandate. I'm not going to bore people why I was doing that, but that allowed me to understand how insurance works. But I really, really, really got to learn how insurance worked by working in a community-based hospital. You know, that one that you were admitted into, but we're not going to say the name. Um, I worked there, and that working in that case management and social services department really gave me an insight to how insurance works when you are in an emergency or when you're not in an emergency. And it really opened my eyes to how people really do not know what they have when it comes to insurance. So that's just a snippet into why I am, you know, kind of an expert in this space. I won't say kind of. I'm going to give myself my props in this space. And so open enrollment is just a time when you can make any change to your insurance that is not considered a change of life. When there's a change of life event, meaning you have a baby, you get married, if there's an unfortunate death in your family, God forbid, anything that changes your life drastically, which a baby, marriage, that sort of thing, adoption, anything like that, you can make changes to your insurance at any time of the year. There's nothing that can stop you. But if you no longer like Kaiser and you want to switch to Anthem, or you want to switch to HealthNet, or you want to switch from Anthem to Kaiser, that is the time when you can make those changes. You can change your dental insurance. You can change your, most jobs only offer VSP, but if they have two vision insurances, you can switch there. So that's what open enrollment is for. It's for you to say, you know what? I do not like my insurance. I picked it because it was the least expensive one. I got a raise. I'm ready to level up my insurance plan. And you now have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. And that's so important. In where I work, I won't say where I work because it doesn't really matter. Even so, it's the medical, the dental, accidental death and dismemberment insurance,
yes,
short-term disability, long-term disability in your spending accounts. Also are, I guess at this time of the year, you can make adjustments. Like for me, I was like, ooh, so there's a core short-term disability benefit. But after what happened, I was like, hold on, whoa. Let me buy this other one because we don't know, you know, we might need to be off and your pay time off goes away. This can help to kind of, you know, recover your salary. So there's all these things here that are really, really cool that you can purchase or like you said, change. You're right. Leveled up too. I was like,
let me say something to that long-term disability. Although that's not my niche per se, I am versed in that for multiple reasons. Make sure that it covers you, it makes you whole, meaning it doesn't just make it to where you're making 60%, because state disability will do that for 12 months. So you want to make sure it makes you whole, meaning 100% of your salary. Because if it's just to make sure that you're making the 60%, they may only pay you like $50 a pay period. So make sure it's to make you whole and not just get you to the 60% mark.
See, hold on now. Okay,
there's some nuances to all of this. So just make sure.
See, and that's something to understand and know, because I mean, I didn't know that. I was like, oh, I just know I don't want to run out of time knowing I need to be home. So I need to get, you know, so see, I learned something myself. I thought you had taught me everything. You done threw that one in. I'm like, wait.
Yes.
Let me put back into that portal later on and like, hold on.
Yes.
And so, wow. So my next question for you is certain populations, which include Black folk, other minoritized, marginalized populations, and this is you know this to be true. The data says they have the hardest time accessing health care. Is making sure people have health insurance the only solution for increasing healthcare access? So I think we're leaning into our NPH mind here. What is it the only thing? Are there other things that we can do to make sure that people have access to care?
Well, insurance does not guarantee access to care. I mean, we have people that have health insurance that do not go to the doctor. I mean, the data shows men, they're one of those groups that do not go to the doctor, but they will have the best coverage, right? And so sometimes it's ease of access, meaning there's a doctor's clinic around the corner from your home, but yet you really like this doctor. But sometimes You might not like the doctor, so you might not like the office, so you're not going to go there. So it's ease of access. And then we're now seeing a trend of doctors are doing concierge medicine. And so concierge medicine means you pay me $3,000 annually and I will give you the best medicine. You can reach me 24/7. You want blood work done, I can do it for you. We don't have to get approval from your insurance. You just pay Quest the full amount. You need this, I'll give you this. You need that, I'll give you that. You don't have to have pre-approvals from your insurance because it's all covered under this pretty little package because they want to make more money, which is understandable. So the access and ease of access are really challenging for marginalized groups to access healthcare providers.
Yeah. And I think one of the things I said, and I can't remember if I said it last week or the week before, it's almost like having a key to the door, but you don't know how to use the key, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, I have this key, which could be health insurance, but I don't know how to, the entry point doesn't make sense to me. So then therefore it's almost like I don't have it because if I'm not using it, to your point, if I don't show up or I don't know even how to begin that process, it does almost feel like, well, what was the reason? And you're right. I think accessibility, ease. If it's too hard to make an appointment, if you call them and they talking about your appointment is 3 months away, or any way that makes it, or it costs X number of dollars to park, or you can't find parking, anything that creates a barrier makes it really, really hard for people to access healthcare in a way that is beneficial to them, because it's like people are living their lives, people are busy with other things, and sometimes this feels like an additional sort of, even though it's our health and our life, I think sometimes we feel like this is additional, like, oh man, I don't feel like it. So when we make it hard, we literally do, like, it's like we give you a key, but we don't, the lock is like way up here and you can't even get in. And I think that's really crazy.
I want to hone in on that a little more. So I have a patient that I work with. So part of my day job is I provide concierge services, health navigation services to Medi-Cal members for free. And then we have some cash paying clients that we provide those services to. And one of my Medi-Cal members, we were on the website for her health plan, and there were about 12 doctors in her area that said that they were accepting patients. Well, we sat there and called each one of those doctors, and out of those 12 doctors, only one was actually accepting new Medi-Cal patients. And so the website said one thing, but when you call, it says another thing. And then another doctor, we called and added the doctor as her HMO provider, her primary care provider under her HMO. And then by the time we called back, they weren't accepting new patients. So it was just like, it's the drama of it all as well. It's the ease, and then the drama that comes along with there not being ease, and people just give up. And then we turn into this social group of people that use the emergency room as their doctor.
Yep. And we all know the emergency room is exponentially more expensive. And depending on what's wrong, you're gonna be there all night, because if someone comes in with a life-threatening emergency, you're gonna have to wait. And so it's like it just becomes this really, like, it doesn't work. So you know all of the details about my health issue and how things went like left real quick for me. Based on what you know about what happened to me, and even you talked about experiences with other people that you've come across, what do you think is the worst thing that health insurance companies and providers do to people? What harm are they causing?
Well, I'm going to start with the provider level. I think the thing that the providers are doing that is so bad is the runaround, and the assumption that their patients understand how to navigate their healthcare insurance, when really they do not know how to navigate the healthcare insurance themselves. Okay. And so that is one of the biggest concerns that I have for individuals that have crises, right? I'm in crisis, and will I be able to navigate this effectively? And seeing that it's hurtful, right? And so that's the biggest thing that I see when it comes to the providers. When it comes to the health insurance, I think they're just so big. People just do not know what to do once they call them. They're like, help me, that's your job. And then you tell them the story, and then they'll tell you something to do, and that may not be the right thing for you to do at that moment. And so that is what I see as one of the biggest issues with the insurer, is trying to navigate, just talking to them on the phone, getting them to understand what your concerns are, how they can support you through all of what you're going through, right? So that's what I see as the issues on either side. It's the physician thinks the patient understands insurance when they don't even understand insurance, and then the insurer is too big. They're not really providing their members exactly what they need.
So crazy. We're going to go to commercial, and when we come back, we're going to talk about kind of from the consumer side, and then we're going to get into the tips and tricks that you have to help folks kind of navigate. So we'll be back in a few minutes.
Are you ready for enlightening conversations that transcend boundaries? Get ready for Conversations with Clergy, brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network. In partnership with the world's largest publicly funded international collaboration, the HVTN is dedicated to evaluating vaccines to prevent HIV and COVID-19. But their impact doesn't stop there. The HVTN is at the forefront of advancing vaccinology, social and behavioral sciences, statistics, immunology, and even contributing to the research on tuberculosis and COVID-19 vaccines. By supporting Conversations with Clergy, the HVTN not only brings you thought-provoking discussions, but also contributes to the global effort to combat infectious diseases. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the change. Conversations with Clergy, supported by the HVTN, empowering conversations, empowering lives. Join us in this journey of knowledge, understanding, and progress. Conversations with Clergy, proudly brought to you by the HIV Vaccine Trials Network, because together we can make a difference.
And we are back talking about navigating the chaos of the health insurance industry. I don't know, all of it, healthcare, all of it. And so one of the things that you said before we ended, or on the previous segment, was around health insurance companies kind of being so big, and, maybe you do make that phone call, and, you say what you say, and then they say something else, and it's like, that ain't what I said, though. You know what I mean? Like, they don't hear you. And I can remember, even in my situation, interestingly enough, it didn't even occur to me to call my health insurance company. When stuff was going weird, my mom was the one that said, you need to call the health insurance company. And as a matter of fact, she called. I'm like, Mama, but which is a testament to having family and friends and people to support you. Because sometimes when you're dealing with your own illness, which is a lot already, having to try to figure out, like, what am I doing when stuff goes wrong, is also kind of a big deal. So I wanted to bring that forward too, because sometimes that don't even be top of mind. Like,
Yeah, because they're so big. You're like, why am I calling them? But they are your protector. Let me tell you something. I tell people all the time, if your doctor is not doing what they're supposed to do, meaning you're sitting in the lobby waiting over 30 minutes, file a grievance. You're not supposed to wait more than 30 minutes. But because people don't complain, they get to continue with that poor behavior, right? Call your insurance company and complain if you're not getting answers, because if enough people complain on a physician, that insurance company will drop them. They don't have to cut that. Doctors do not have to be what we call credentialed, meaning they are approved to see patients that are covered by this insurer. They don't have to be credentialed. That's not a given. And but if you complain, they will drop them. There is an insurer, I will not say the name because they're not sponsoring us, okay?
Right.
They are they are notorious for not credentialing doctors, like hardcore. And I will say this is not Kaiser for anyone that thinks it is. It's someone else. And but they're really hard because they are they're probably the number one in the game. And so, but that's because their members will complain. You have to complain. I have people, especially the Medi-Cal members, they will say, I don't want to get the doctor in trouble. This is real life.
Right.
He's not a juvenile. They are not a juvenile. Like, get in trouble. You mean accountability? There's a difference. Trouble and accountability are not the same.
Huge. And to your point, and I'll just share this, and you know this, I called my insurance company and was like, I don't understand what just happened. And they were like, okay, hold on. And I was on the phone with that operator for an hour. She said, well, how come you got transferred from this doctor to this doctor? How that happened? I said, I don't know. And she said, hold on. And she called over there. And then she came back and explained. And then she said, so now what's going on with this one? And then she said, hold on. And then she called over there. And then she came back. And so I said, well, I want a new doctor. Okay. And so it was like, so to your point, yeah, that's what their job is. Cause she was like, this don't make no sense. I remember calling a separate time and literally the operator apologized. I am so sorry this is happening to you. I don't know why this is taking so long. Let's figure out what's going on. And she was the one that said, switch medical groups. And so that hadn't occurred to me. But that was the insurance company. So you're right. They will, but you got to call them. You can't, they don't know if you don't say nothing. You got to pick up the phone, figure out which button to push. Maybe just push anyone. Is hello, somebody, operator, somebody, hello. And then just, do what you got to do. Yes. What is the biggest mistake that consumers make when it comes to their healthcare?
Selecting the cheapest plan. I said what I said, especially my people.
And why? Why is that a bad idea? Why the cheapest plan ain't the right one? What happened?
I mean, where's your value? Are you valuable? Is your health valuable to you? I just see it as you want the best of the best for you. Okay. Now I understand some people cannot afford it. And so the best plan is the one you can afford, right? Mm-hmm. This is for the people that can't afford the more expensive plan. I have a PPO. Now I'm in a different space because my husband's job covers his premium at 100%. So we don't pay anything out of our paycheck. But that doesn't mean that I don't have to pay when I go to the doctor, right? So, I get all of those concerns. In the same breath, I know that I don't want to be told, oh, we don't take that insurance. I don't ever want to be. I just don't. I want to go wherever I want to go, and I don't want to have to get approval before I go. So, full disclosure, I have Hashimoto's, which is a thyroid disease. I'm hypothyroidism. I'm on the cusp. I picked my endocrinologist. I do not want my doctor, my PCP, to send me a referral to their best friend, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to send you a referral to their friend that might be 30 miles from your home and make it seem like, oh, this is the only doctor that's taking your insurance right now. And then I have to go to their friend, and I might not like their friend.
Right.
I have to wait for another authorization to the doctor I want to go to. And then my PCP might be in their feelings and drag their feet to get the authorization to the other doctor. So I don't want to deal with that drama. So I choose the PPO. But if you're going to choose the less expensive health plan, you got to learn it. You have to become a student of it so that you can use the system to your benefit. You have to, because if not, you're going to learn a valuable lesson. And when it comes to healthcare, we learn lessons when we get sick, unfortunately.
And it's too, at that point, that is not the time to learn
Right.
it, because again, you're already dealing with what's wrong with you because you don't feel good for whatever reason. And now you got to try to figure like what happened. And I think to your point, the reason why, so I took your advice, I switched from an HMO to a PPO. But to your point, if you have to stay with an HMO, I think for me, my biggest lesson, the medical group is also important. So the one I had before, now the one I have now, yes, I still have to kind of wait for authorizations, but everything is so efficient. I have the app and everything, blah, 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 blah. But I decided, to your point, because I can afford it, I looked at my job is different from maybe some others, maybe similar to what your husband's job. They give me an allowance for my insurance. So they give you a dollar amount. And then you decide what you want to do. It's your business. Do you want the most expensive one? That's your business. Like Tabitha Brown says, if you want the cheap one, that's your business. Now, if you're smart, you pick one and you get your little situation together, you'll get the rest of that money back in income if you want. But when I looked at it, I was like, oh, and I started doing the math. I'm like, oh, I can afford this PPO. It won't cut into my little allowance. So I switched. So I took your advice so that next year, we don't have to wait, because even today I went to the doctor. She said, oh, well, we need to schedule an appointment. Oh, she has to call to get the authorization. I won't have to do that in 2025. So that's really exciting for me. My dentist is already bougie. He don't take no HMO. So I had to get the dental PPO because he's like, baby.
The dentists don't play. The good dentists, they don't want to look. They're like an HMO. Girl, bye.
Bye. Because I'm only going to get 25 cents for pulling this tooth out. No.
Yeah, the good dentist not playing with you in your DHMO. They're like, goodbye, see you later.
Exactly. So you already kind of said something, that makes a lot of sense. Buy the best healthcare that you can afford. And if it is an HMO, it is an HMO. If it's Medi-Cal, it's Medi-Cal. I mean, Medi-Cal, I tell people this all the time. Medi-Cal paid my daughter's hospital bill when she was born. I ain't got nothing bad to say about Medi-Cal because that's what I had. Who was going to pay it? I didn't have $40,000. So you do the best of what you can afford. How do we make the best choice possible when it comes to healthcare? You shared something in one of the groups that we were in. I guess was that last month? You talked about think about the hospital. Like, can you walk through that? Like, talk through how you can figure that out so that you don't make the mistake I made and pick the cray-cray medical group at first. It didn't know it was cray-cray. Like, how?
Yes. So what you do is, I always tell people, pick your doctor. If you have an HMO, you have to select your primary care physician. Now, most people, when you first enroll into that HMO plan, the first thing they do is send you a medical card with a doctor that they spun the wheel on and said, we're going to pick this one. It's just any doctor that's close to you within so many miles of your home, right? So you say, I don't want that doctor because I don't know that doctor. I don't know anyone that's ever seen that doctor, but I want a new doctor. What you do is you go on that website, right, for your insurance, and you want to search first by facility. Search hospital facility. So it might say like acute care and whatever. Acute care is a hospital, but they may have a field that says straight hospital. Okay. So you click that and then you select your hospital. So you might want a local hospital. I know this is not just streamed in Los Angeles County, so I'll just say a local hospital, but I'm going to use LA because I'm an LA native. And so you might want Cedars-Sinai. Okay. Because you're like, listen, that's creme de la creme. That is the standard. So we're going to use Cedars-Sinai. Okay. Although they are having a federal probe for how they treat Black women that are giving birth, just so you know. Wow. So I just want to make sure I shine a light on that because that's not me. That's in the newspaper. Okay. So if you choose Cedars for let's say you have a back injury and you're like, I need my PCP to be out of Cedars because my doctor for my back, my physical therapist only works through Cedars. Okay. So you go to hospital, you search hospital. Now, once you go to hospital, you can scroll down or scroll up, and then you're going to find where it's going to say find physicians affiliated with this facility or something there like that. You click on that. Now, some provider websites I found, they won't let you search that way. But if they do, you click on that and then you filter out to primary care physicians. So you go to the website, you search facility, you scroll down to where till you get to find physicians affiliated with this facility or clinicians, and then you find a primary care physician based on that. And the reason why I say that is, now bear with me, Nicole. The reason why I say that this is, you have and when you have an HMO, you are what's considered, this fancy word, it's called capitated. It sounds just like that. You are held captive at that specific hospital for non-emergency surgeries or any sort of thing that you need done. Okay. So any type of, let's say you need a tonsillectomy, non-emergent services, we'll just say that. Let's say if you have a cyst on your arm and they can only treat you at the hospital because it has to get packed with gauze, and they want you in the hospital when that is done, to get treated. Okay. You are capitated to that hospital, meaning you are stuck there for anything that's non-emergent. So imagine if the doctor, and I think this was your situation, the doctor's in, let's say, Santa Monica. You're thinking, oh, they must be affiliated with Ronald Reagan. That's the assumption. But that's not always true. That doctor in Santa Monica can be affiliated with a hospital in Whittier.
Wow.
Yes, that can happen. I've seen it many times before. Okay. So you want to make sure that you are capitated, meaning held captive, for non-emergency services at the hospital of your choice. Now, for emergencies, you could go anywhere.
Right.
You can go anywhere and they will treat you if it's an emergency. If it's not an emergency, they're going to move you to that hospital in Whittier. Okay. Nicole, no.
What the hell?
Yes. They will put you in an ambulance. Yes. And cart you on out because they're not going to get paid the amount of money they want to get paid because they're not contracted. They have to chase after their money. That's just the reality of it. And some people may get mad. Some people, really quick, some people may get mad like it's all about money. Well, I mean, you got to pay your bills at a hospital, right? They got light bill, just like at your house, light bill, gas bill, water bill. The difference is they have a lot of employees they have to pay. So yes, there has to be a money driven aspect there, but we have to be knowledgeable so that we don't get caught up in the money driver.
Right. And left hanging with 104-day old injury, but you know. So what should we be doing when things go wrong? What should consumers be doing? And that's really like our last question. And then leading into, I want you to talk about your business as well. But what should be, when things ain't right, your doctor is tripping, you don't know what to do, somebody tell you something wrong, what should we be really good at getting used to doing?
There are a few things. Number one, we have to be comfortable with filing grievances against these providers. Okay. I will file a grievance in a heartbeat, and my grievances always come through with a check for me of, yes, you were right, Mrs. Coulter. Yes. Yes. And I'm like, I know I was right. Thank you. And then for those of us that get medical bills, I tell everyone, appeal every bill that you get. Unless it's something like $20 or $30. But if you get a bill of over $100, just appeal it and see. The worst thing they can say is, no, this is what you owe. I say appeal it. Because they might pad it. Like, especially if you have a surgery, appeal that bill. Because the insurance company doesn't want to pay them more than what they have to pay them. But they don't know if they are being overcharged until you tell them.
Right.
I didn't get 4 Tylenols. I only got 2. I didn't even take any pain medication, but the doctor put it in the chart. And when it went to medical billing charged you based on what the doctor put in the chart.
Yeah.
That's just the reality of it. And really get to know what your health plan offers you. I'm telling you, I was talking, I went to this event where we had to all stand up and introduce ourselves. And one of the things I said is, I teach the classes that I teach about healthcare navigation, because I want people to get comfortable with knowing about healthcare when they are healthy.
Yes.
You should not start learning when you are in crisis. That is the worst time to learn, because you're overwhelmed and you're exhausted. And for me, I see this all the time. People call me, people text me, friends, non-friends, text me, try to get in contact with me. And I don't mind, answering a question or two, but I'm not going to sit on the phone with you and talk to you about this when I teach a class in Inglewood, Long Beach, and Wilmington for free. You could come to those classes for free. But if you want me to help you and provide you support, now you gotta pay the lady. And we don't I don't want to take your money when you're vulnerable, but my time,
Right.
it's reality. So I want people to start honing in. I have these older ladies that come to my class in Inglewood. Girl, they have a notepad and they are bringing their documents, asking me to look over them. Another woman, she showed me her Medicare, Medi-Cal card and told me about the advocacy that she had for herself to make sure she could see a UCLA doctor. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yep.
I don't want to see you when you are downtrodden. I just don't. I want to see you when you high up and you want to learn, how can I make sure I don't get tackled by this system when I'm already down?
Right. Because, honey, this system will still take you down. You be like, what in the world?
Let me tell you something. It is, there are 2 safety nets, 2 of the biggest safety nets, and that's the hospital and the school. And both of them, we are fine navigating both of them when the kids are acting right, when the body is acting right, we're good. The moment the teacher starts talking trash or the kids start acting up, then we got a problem. The moment our body starts breaking down, we have a problem. And it's hard to navigate those systems because both systems will close doors on you when you aren't coming in with a smile.
Yep. And it's so much harder for us as Black. Girl, you might have to come back on for another episode because it's so much harder for us as Black people. There was some research that was done at, in interviews of Black people in California. So these are Black Californians. I have to go in there and speak a certain way. I remember going into my doctor and saying, yeah, I got a doctorate degree. I felt like I had to do that not to say he was treating me away, but I still felt like I had to do that so that I could make sure that he respected me and treated me a certain way. And it's like, I don't think other people have to deal with that. I think we always have to kind of be extra worried about those kinds of things. So I think what you're doing is amazing. Can I say
something about that real quick? Just real quick. So I went to the hospital. I was in really bad pain. I've been in pain for like 4 or 5 days. And I was like, I can't take it anymore. I need to go to the hospital. And I went to the hospital and I said I was in pain. And they started probing and they were like, okay, this is what's going on with you. Here's the medication. And they had given me some morphine to kind of temper the pain, but it just took the edge off. I was still in pain. So the nurse comes in. She's like, here's the prescription. Here's this. Here's this. I said, but I'm still in pain. And she said, well, the doctor gave you pain meds. I said, yeah, but what if CVS is running behind? Now I'm going to be chasing the pain again. She was like, yeah, well, the doctor gave you the pain meds. I said, let me tell you something. Go ahead and give me that bring in that joint commission doctor that manages your pain medication and let me file a claim against you real quick. And she looked at me. I was like, yeah, I have my master's in social work and I'm a hospital social worker. You want to play? Girl, she came back with that morphine. But why do I have to do that? I'm in pain.
Right.
Automatically think Black people are seeking pain medication. That's the first thing they say. We have a pain seeker in bed 4B. And they call the social worker. So the social worker can go see if they are seeking pain meds. Like your need to be validated, or to validate who you are and your worth, your level of worth it's true. We do go into these spaces feeling like that and having to do that.
Yeah.
And I hate it because I have to do it too. But the moment I pull out my scroll of credentials, they get scared. I'm like, yeah, back up.
And the other side of what you just said, and then for real, we got to get to the other part of this.
Yes.
What if you had been in so much pain? Not saying that you weren't, but what if you had a different way of dealing with your pain and you had socked her in her face?
Now I'm getting arrested.
All these Black people coming here, they be fighting, they angry. I'm hurting.
I'm yes.
It's so crazy.
Those South Central girls.
I just think about my daughter. She's a fire sign. She's an Aries. Baby, that would have just been a whole mess. So I don't even know how that would have went. So tell me a little bit about your business. How can people get in touch with you? What if they want to attend the class? How the website, all that good stuff.
Okay, so HN Foundation, that is our nonprofit. And our focus for that organization is providing health equity services. My brand, Safe Spaces for Black Women, is housed under HN Foundation so that I can get grants and funding and folks can give donations so I can continue to provide these health equity spaces for Black women. If they want to get in contact with me, they can email me at contact@healthequity, M as in Mary, P as in Paul, H as in Henry.com. I teach a class. It's so much. I'm going to go fast. I teach a class at 3 different centers. You can find out where we will be on our Instagram page at, and the at is AHN Foundation. And I teach those classes, but we also provide free services up to 6 hours every 6 months to Medi-Cal members to help them or to support them in navigating this treacherous healthcare system, which is extremely difficult, more difficult for them than it is for us. Yep. With private insurance and employer-based insurance. And so we do that, but we also have concierge support for individuals that just have questions about their health plan and open enrollment and just, I got a new job and this new job gave me a book this thick of all of our offerings and what should I select? And so that is a new arm that we have added to our business. I haven't really started promoting it, but I will hopefully in the new year.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Again, I know that's going to be helpful to somebody because someone did reach out to me on Instagram maybe a week or two ago. Like, yeah, I think I'm about to let, Kaiser go. I'll say it. And I was like, okay, well, I have someone, watch the show on this day because we're going to talk about how to kind of navigate that. And I'm like, that's fine. Some people love Kaiser. Other people love Kaiser. Some people don't. And so she was wanting to think about other options. And I was like, well, and so maybe she can reach out to you. I'll send her your Instagram and stuff. So if she wants to reach out to you directly.
She can reach out to me about Kaiser transition. I love helping with that.
I've never been a Kaiser girl, so I don't know nothing about none of that. Thank you, Alicia, for being here tonight. All right, y'all, you know where to find me on my website, www.NicoleDvick.com. You can find my books there. You can see podcasts where I have been guest on. You can see my nails. You can see all the things on my website. You can reach out to me if you want me to MC an event, you want me to come speak at an event, all the things. My books are on there. I think I mentioned it already. Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson. Push Through, 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times, the journal. And then, Jesus, what's the name of that book? Triumph in the Trenches. Thank you. What's the name? That's an anthology where I wrote a chapter, contributed a chapter in about Black folk navigating the workspace. You can also find me on social media. I'm slowly coming back on Instagram and TikTok, Nicole D. Vick. And I will see you next week. We're going to have the director of the California Black Health Network on next week. She's going to kind of wrap up this conversation around healthcare. From sort of a broader perspective, looking at that research and some of the campaigns that their organization is doing, similar to what you're doing, Alicia, really helping people figure out how to navigate the healthcare system. Because it's like, we might as well be trying to decipher hieroglyphics around here. Like, what in the world? So thank you again, Alicia, for being here. And everyone else, I will see you next week. Bye.
Thank you for watching Pyro Media Network. For more information, please visit pyromedianetwork.com.